Do you ever feel like being a misfit? Everything inside you dark and twisted. Oh, but it's okay to be different. Cause baby, so am I. So am I, so am I, so am I. Do you ever feel like an outcast? You don't have to fit it in the format. Well, but it's okay to be different, cause baby, so am I, so am I, so am I, so am I. Now, this is probably familiar for you guys. Great introduction. It's breakfast time for me. I got cereal. So, yeah. You know, in life, whether you go to university or high school or primary school, the most thing is that, if you're a misfit, right? Thinks outside the box, don't obey where others do obey within the same box. You're classified, and you won't be get treated or privileged enough to get to that phase of life. Now, when I talk about that, is everything in this society, there's a format you have to obey, right? Your assessments, your homework, your exam, you have to think in the same bubble. If you think outside of the bubble, then you will feel like an outcast, whether you're not successfully or achieved that certain um, assessment or things like that, or just generally in life. Right, it makes life harder. You're made to fit into that society bubble. Right now, when you're made to fit in that society bubble, it creates, you moved on to the next stage. If you're a misfit, it can be dyslexic, it can be your ADHD, it can be, hang around the wrong people, it can be, it can be all sorts of things. Like, you're visionary, you think of something outside of the world. You have wild imaginations when you write your assessments, and you're very differentiated amongst your peers. But in life, you don't generally work out the same as them. Now, you know, it's funny how where billionaires, or like perhaps let's just say like Elon Musk, right? He stated on the video, they're saying that no university graduates will able or will pass through the interview stages or things like that, because they are very, very structured, very, very formatted thinking way, right? He will hire someone outside of that. So pretty much what he's saying is that they'll hire some of them who are unfortunate, who are misfit, who are being mistreated, how the society portrayed amongst them, because they are very wide visionary, you know. And many of the successful business people who are dropouts, right, and whether they have a very wide visionary, and those who are open starting business, if you look at their history in the past, and they don't have the best of the best qualification. Now this comes back to Robert, what's his name, Sakiyaki, is that his name? Or okay, so it's based on the Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, right? How to entrepreneur and how to make money, right? So he stated that the A students will work with the B students, or the C and D students. The C D students will run his way and make his way to to build his empire, where the A students wouldn't, because they are very format fixation, and that's life. Like being a misfit is like getting punished in this society, because when it cannot capable or fit in that what is being academia, you know being selected, that difficulty level where the misfit cannot understand, we interpret it in a very different world, different very stages in life. And what I feel like about this whole thing is those who are not misfits and get to that certain stage, they have to go through a lot of things, you know. And the high position they have, they're actually not really that happy. If you compare to a misfit who will work in a low skill job, or branching out, opening business, or business owners, or entrepreneurs, or taking risk, compared to those who are very highly achieved. Highly achieved that, you know, you have to obey this format. Political correctness, you cannot talk about intersectionality, you cannot talk about religion, sex, gender, and you know, you have to change a lot of stuff. You got to be aware of your co-workers, you know, be aware of what's coming out of your mouth. It cannot be sexist, cannot be everything. In compared to a low-level skill job, right? A low-level skill job is not that very strong, but you have to be mindful. But in a high corporate or high-level job, you know, I hear from my mentors the amount of stories, how they backstab or how they climb this corporate ladder or how they do this and how they do that is very bizarre, because it was just gone to the stage of saying like, wow, it's very evil, because amongst us peers, we were raised to love and share and help one or the other. And as you get older, it's a different story. You're meant to stab and kill just to get the job position, right? So you do anywhere, any form of way on getting it, whether it's sexual harassment or rape cases or anything like that, or you know, I've actually witnessed this sort of stuff as when I was doing my student placements, and boy, it's tough to survive or handle this sort of stuff every single day. And I get to see the opposite sex are doing the same thing. So you're just there like, whether this is right or wrong, whether this is the thing. It's hard to wake up in the morning and be robot fixations and yes, no, okay, just don't talk, don't communicate. Women and men do not communicate up in the upper area. You know, they do not communicate because there's fear of slipping one word. You know, if you slip one word that's wrong, you can get your job get sacked. And I felt very, very. I'm pretty sure with the recent news with the alarm that is how you say it? Israel Folau, is it? The rugby player, he plays rugby union and stated the Bible quote. Um, you know, um, even though he wasn't, it was after work. It wasn't work during the work hours, and he said the Bible quote and got his job sacked. He's banned for life for rugby. So you cannot talk about anything in today's world, and this is sort of like you're asking yourself. So being a misfit is technically you are less likely to engage in the stuff that makes you feel. Because if you're like really high academia, you follow everything, what the structures and everything like that, then you ask yourself, well, what is the next point? Someone's calling me. Anywho, but you understand what the video is about.